Hey, all right. Here we go again, John. Welcome once again to our Let It Run podcast here, and our special edition with myself, Freddie York, and John Costin. John, how you doing, buddy?
It's happy hour, Fred. Doing great.
Hey, there's a toast, a little. What do you got there? A little IPA, a little juicy IPA, buddy.
A little juicy Grateful Dead IPA today.
Oh, Grateful Dead. We should have substituted our opening with a little Jerry Garcia action there, but all good. Let's go. All right, folks. So, hey, once again, I want to welcome you to our happy hour, which we do every Friday, all Fridays at 3 p.m., where we cover a couple different things, a couple betting strategies. We also have a deep dive segment, which we are going to cover today. When we get to that, after we do our betting strategies, we're going to cover the 10th race at Keeneland, a very, very competitive big race with 12 horses in the field. The Coolmore Turf Mile, 12 horses. The morning line favorite is lukewarm 7-2. So you're not seeing any 3-5s, 8-5s to start. So there is some value in it. There's some good horses. We'll talk about that a little bit. But for now, John, by the way, nice shirt there. What do you got on there? A Let Him Run shirt?
How's that for some merch right there? Look at that. Love it. Thanks for dropping it off the other day.
You're welcome. Well, I work right next door to you, so it wasn't a big trip, John.
Wasn't a big ask.
It wasn't a big ask, but any ask you need, John, I'm there for you, brother. Okay.
You always are.
So let's talk about some betting strategies, John. One of the betting strategies, the first betting strategy we're going to talk about is using the all button in your vertical bets. So, that could be your 10-cent super, your 10-cent tries, et cetera. That's the first strategy John's going to talk about. The second one, which is, I think, a very interesting strategy, John, is, the use of small, inexpensive feeders to allow you to get into a bigger contest, and they provide some really good opportunities. I know you've had some experience with that, so I'm going to let you take over now. First, talk about the use of the all button, which I know, and we've had experience with that when we do some of our superfectas. When we do a get together with a bunch of the guys in the Derby. But why don't you take it, John, and let's hear about this use of the all button. I'm excited to hear about it too.
Yeah, I'm an exciting fan of the all button in certain types of bets, especially with a wide open field. You can't be doing it with a 6-7 horse field. It's just not going to pay enough to really do anything. But when you got a full field, 10, 11, or 12, and it's pretty much wide open, and there's usually like no big favorites, then it's a good time to do it. I usually try to key in on like 3 horses, and then I'll play something like 3x3 with the all button in third. Then I'll try to split the all button and hope one of the bombs splits my choices and go 3 by all by 3. And then if you really got, budget, you want to put the all button on top and your 3 horses in second and third, move that all button as many places as your budget can allow, depending on the size of the field. 50-cent try, for example, in a 10-horse field would be 3 by 2 is 6. 6 times 8, 48, $24 bet. And if you moved it into 3 different spots, it would total $72. But
that's not bad.
A big return when you really don't have a strong opinion. You're keying your 3 horses. 2 of the 3 got to hit the board. And then other than that, you're hoping for, chaos.
Well, I think that race we're going to look at a little bit later today is probably a good example, right, John? Big field, 12 horses. You can make a case for almost every horse in the field, but we'll get to that when we talk about that. But so looking at a race like that, that's a good example of where the use of the all button and the vertical bet may be a possibility, correct?
I think that is the most perfect race we're covering today to, be that type of bet. Narrow in on your 3 choices, hope 2 of the 3 run on the board. Then also if you want to do like a 10-cent superfecta, maybe you pick 4 horses because it's tough to get 3 horses and all 3 of them hit the top 4 in the superfecta. Sure. Every one of your keys got to be there. Whereas a trifecta, 2 of the 3 got to run good. Whereas a superfecta, if you go down maybe 4 by 3 by 2 and all button, and then move that all button for 10 cents, that's another way to attack it. Maybe add a horse in your key horse field, and then slide that all button as far up the line as you can. The better you get the all button into the second spot, it's way better than third, and it's a way better than getting the all button in fourth, because it could be three choices, and no matter who runs fourth, it's not going to help your bet. So if you could get that all button into the second spot, like we talked about, split tries, take the two favorites, split them with the all button, 30-1 run second. Now you're looking at big paydays.
Sure. A big price. And that's something, John, we do that pretty often the last couple of years on Kentucky Derby Day. We've done that in the Derby, and that's where I first learned about how you mentioned the use of the all button, where we went superfecta wise, picked some maybe 4 or 5 key horses and went up and down with that and did that. And that's another good example. Of course, talking about a big field, well, there's your big field. You just got to pick your 4 horses that you're going to use with the all button, all at different levels. So, okay, excellent. All right, let's talk about another betting strategy, John, which has to do with feeders that are kind of low budget, allow you to get in, maybe get lucky and move ahead into a little bigger contest, and perhaps even continue to move on from there. So let's talk about that, John. I know you have good experience with that. I'm interested in this as well.
Yep.
I'm having a sip first. I'm having a little sip first. It's because I know you're going to talk.
Contest play, has been, big for the last 5 years, especially, since I qualified NHC a few times and met, some of the greatest people out there in the NHC, friends that we talk to every single day,
Cool.
Group text with, Skins, my buddy, and Sammy from New Orleans, and Gus, who does spotlight selections on Briz Network. He was out there with me, and we just had a blast once you get to that point. But how you get there, people do it all different ways. And the good thing with the NHC, not actually the bad thing, you can't just buy your way in. You can't show up in Vegas, hand them the money, and say, I want to play. You have to win a qualifier to get you to invite it to Vegas. So many different ways. There's guys that bought in for $7 feeders. It's a small little contest where maybe they'll take 1 out of every 5. So it's a small contest for $7. 35 guys play. 7 guys will make it to the next level, and they're going to give you a $36 seat in the next level, where it might be, 1 out of 5 again makes it to the big qualifier, 1 step away from the NHC. Wow. You could buy right into the, $250 buy-in, but, not everybody wants a buy-in for a shot, of, trying to qualify with a $250 bankroll to just go in there and buy it. So it's always fun to do it small, $7, $18, great feeders that lead you into, bigger things. And it's just a fun way to, spend the afternoon on $7 or $18. You got a whole day. You've got all the races. You're putting the picks in, and you're just sitting there watching the leaderboard, watching yourself. So it's just a fun way of playing the races without, tipping your budget or anything. So the feeders usually send you to the NHC, the Breeders' Cup, $10,000 betting challenge, the Keeneland Grade 1 gamble, the Monmouth Pick Your Prize contest. These are $2,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 buy-ins that your normal person doesn't. So you got to play these contests to get lucky. And, I've had my share of, winning enough of them, finishing in the top 2 to top 3 to get me a seat for $179, getting me a $4,000 seat at the Keeneland Grade 1 game. So anybody can do this.
Where would you find these contests at, John? There's several sites that they have them, or?
Yeah, there's 2 main sites. It's horseplayers.com and horsetourneys.com. And you can just go on them and, you deposit a few bucks and you can start playing them. The 2 types of tournaments they have is the live tournament, which I'm not a huge fan of, because towards the end of the tournament, everybody's just picking bombs. And if you get lucky and catch the right bomb, you're going to surpass everybody that handicapped well. My favorite is the pick and pray, where you pick all the races before you start and you just pray that they come in, and you can't change them. So at the end of the contest.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So it's like your best overall handicapper is going to win. You got to get lucky along the way, but at the end, you can't get burnt by handicapping 8 great races. In the last race, the 20-1 shot wins. 5 guys have it, and they all leapfrog you. And they're only picking it because they have no other choice. They don't like the horse. They're up against it mathematically. So those live contests, I always try to stay away because I just hate getting burnt at the end.
Now I'm sensing, John, a little feeling that perhaps this has happened to you before, that you were leapfrogged. I'm just saying, I'm just feeling it through the camera that that happened to you. Is that correct?
It has, and it's also happened for me. The last race where I
All
caught
right.
what I needed and had the one out, and nobody in front of me had the horse, and it sent me, with a $3,500 receipt to, some event. So it's happened for me. It just, it's too aggravating, win or lose.
Win or lose. I get you. And I appreciate the comment you made that in the pick and pray contest, you're going to separate your lucky handicappers from your good handicappers, because the picks are in. The picks are in, and that's the end of it. You can't change, like you said at the last race, and pick a 20-1 shot because you ain't got no shot, and you just go for it. So I like that. That's pretty good. That's good stuff. So those are two betting strategies you want to pay attention to. I think we can look at those contests and see some really good opportunities to make some scores if you have time. Like you said, sitting around with some opportunities to do it, not a big deal. So before we get into the next segment, which is going to be the deep dive, we're going to look at the 10th race at Keeneland. As we mentioned, the Coolmore Turf Mile. Just want to take a minute to thank our two sponsors, the Vape Shop in Hamilton Township, located on Route 33. The Vape Shop in Hamilton Township, located on Route 33, which has all your vape supplies and some of many of the top selection of top-selling CBD. Our other sponsor is our good friend Case's Pork Roll, where they've been family owned and operated since 1870. That doesn't mean our buddy Tom Dolan has been with them since 1870. They are just owned and operated since 1870. So try Case for the taste, and you won't be disappointed. Very popular pork roll sandwich around here in Trenton, John. In Hamilton is pork roll, egg, and cheese. Might not be good for your cholesterol, but certainly tastes good sometimes on a Saturday morning after a late night out, which can happen. Probably going to happen tonight because they're having a big event over at the Hibernians for the Irish Fest. And I hear at the Irish Fest on Saturday, the Music Fest, there's a really good master of ceremonies running the show there. So if you're not doing anything, you might want to check it out.
Yep. And my guys in New Orleans and Florida have no idea what you're talking about. Pork roll.
We'll have to put some on some dry ice and ship it down there.
Yeah,
that works. Okay, so John, let's do the Keeneland race. We're going to quickly go through. You're going to handle the odd horses 1 through 11. I'm going to handle 2 through 12. So why don't we kick it off? The Turf Mile Grade 1, $1,250,000 race. Let's jump in there, John. You take it away, buddy.
Donegal and him, the one. Tom Morley got the rail, got a great position. Could sit a good trip. Happened to wire the field last time. On a slowish pace, got away with it in a 5-horse field. I don't think he's going to get that luxury again, but he doesn't need the lead. So he could work out a trip from the inside with Velasquez. So definitely somebody that you got to consider with the trip from the inside.
Okay, the number 2 horse, Quattrocentro, being ridden by Julien Leperreau, trained by Fausto Gutierrez. And it looks like to me that this horse, the last 2 races, ran very good race on a tricky track. Kentucky Downs, that's a very hard track to win on. They were both run at a mile, which is this distance, but this is going to be your straight oval as opposed to your question mark racetrack at Kentucky Downs. So this horse at 15-1 should be given a look. He's 3 for 3 at a mile on the turf. And the last workout he had at Churchill Downs on the dirt looked pretty good. So he's a horse to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely would, have him in the mix, but he's more of actually he could pass a few horses too. So he just happened to inherit the lead. He was the best horse in the race in Kentucky Downs there, odds on every time, and showed why he was. So he took advantage of
from the 11th post, and he came from the 11th post, which is really hard.
Yep.
Especially there.
All right. Number 3, Howard Wolowitz. Jose D'Angelo trained, was the favorite at Kentucky Downs in the Grade 2 turf sprint, probably a $2 million race. That was his first race back after shipping overseas and then coming back here, which I normally don't like a horse shipping first time back. I don't, go it, but they made him even money. He got a little traffic trouble in the stretch. When he got through, he did come running, but I don't think he wasn't winning that race anyway with Bear River, but he did have a good account of himself. He is stretching out to a mile, 2 turns first time. So, we'll see if he can get the distance, but another one who should work out a good trip. He's got enough speed to place him early.
Yeah, I agree. Another thing, One reason I like this horse, one of my favorite angles, is an only mount. Jaramillo's coming to ride him again. He rode him 2-back and 3-back. 2-back was in Saudi Arabia. 3-back was at Turfway Park. So I kind of like that angle, but we'll see what happens there. So, okay, the number 4 horse, Diego Velasquez, an Ireland-bred horse being trained by the very good trainer Aidan O'Brien and being ridden by Frankie Lafranco de Torre. This horse certainly could be the class of the field. One of the few horses who run in a lot of grade 1 races across the pond in Europe. 6 of 11 lifetime record. Certainly being trained by a trainer who knows how to get winners. Most likely going to be the post-time favorite because of the connections. And this horse is one of, I believe, 5 horses that are European horses who are entered here, but certainly a worthy morning line favorite, and we'll see what happens at post-time. But I think Frankie de Torre on it is probably going to get a lot of attention from people.
Yep, I'll comment on this one. Since it is going to be the favorite, people are going to be leaning on this one, possibly singling a lot in the sequence. He does have speed, but the European speed is not going to translate to this 1 mile, flat 1 mile at Keeneland kind of speed. So where he was forwardly placed was slower paces, where he just loped along, got good trips, was there. So I'm not sure he's going to be that close to the pace as he was over there. So does he have that turn of foot to come, flying? Last week, when he was over in Deauville, 17-1 against Notable Speech. Notable Speech had all kind of trouble. He was like a blue blur going by at the wire that, if he would have got clear sooner, Notable Speech would have been 3-5 in this spot, in this race if he shows up. He went up to Canada and had a great, showing up there after that race. So we know the race was live. Diego Velasquez, definitely classy. And he does like, the mile. But is the mile over here going to be too sharp? Over there, they're straight. Yes. So now he's going to handle 2 turns and the speed of a, American track compared to that. And it's probably not worth including, but not leaning on as a lot of people single. He could be, best thing, and where he wins by, 3 lengths, and you're like, holy cow, that horse is good, on to the Breeders' Cup, which could be.
Okay, take the next one, number 5, John. Go ahead.
Woodshana, not much on this. Is a 3-year-old facing, olders here. He did it last time in Deauville and had a nice account of himself. I'm just not sure how the class stacks up with this one. First time going the full mile, and it will be around 2 turns. Every race he's ran has been like a straightaway. So this is like a big test for him, a 3-year-old facing olders. He's always there. He always tries, but I don't know how he's going to stack up class-wise in this one. Just wait and see. At the lower odds, probably use defensively, but not probably going to lean on him.
Okay. The number 6 horse, Mercante, being ridden by J.D. Ramos, trained by Brian Nippenberger. This horse, certainly talking about, speaking of the 5 horse regarding the class, I think this horse falls into that same category. Speed figures certainly don't rank up there with the class of the field here. Some of the horses that are in here has ran in, a grade 2, grade 3, ran in a Turf Classic at Churchill Downs, came in second in that race with a decent buyer speed figure of 104 in the race before that, 101. I just think he's outclassed, and I just think the jockey field here is probably going to give this jockey a little more trouble than he wants. So I would pass on that horse if I'm looking to scratch some horses out, John.
He did get really good there for that 4-race stretch coming out of Turfway Park when they, won the 2 synthetic races, and then he put them on the turf. I mean, they were 4 monster races in a row. Where did they come from? All 4 of those. Now it looks like since the layoff, he's not come back, the same, a little bit off form compared to his, previous 4 races. The mile might be too short for him, maybe too sharp. Maybe, a mile and a 16th, mile and an 1/8 where he can, sustain that run would be a little bit better. But, interesting 20-1 shot.
Okay.
Number 7, Epic Ride. Surprised everybody last week in the last time at Kentucky Downs in the Million Invitational. Wins by 2. Looked like, the speed of the race, but there looked like a lot of speed in that race. But, he just did it his own way and put him away. And, at 15-1, he was almost, he was pretty good. It's always been an interesting horse, right from the beginning when they were shooting for, the Kentucky Derby with this horse. And then they tried him on, got good on synthetic. And then nothing wrong on the turf, really. But, this is a step up in class. And I'm not sure how that, 1 mile at Kentucky Downs is going to transfer to this, King mile. So he'd be like more of an outsider for me. He's going to be one of the pace factors.
Definitely one of the pace factors. I look at this horse and the one horse, Donegal Momentum, as being the horse that's going to look for the lead. Like about 5 or 6 of the horses are going to be in the front. These two, the number 7 and number 1 horse, are going to be up front. This horse always gets out there. Yeah, always gets out there. Always gets up front. He's got the highest, U.S. pace, early pace figure of 125. That's got to be something. He's got an E7 rating from Brisna, another source that we look at. So I agree. I think he's just a little outclassed, although he did run a nice race, although it was at Kentucky Downs, which that often doesn't translate to these kind of races. So, okay. The number 8 horse, Program Trading, another European horse from Great Britain, being trained by Chad Brown, ridden by Flavian Pratt. He lost his last time out to Donegal Momentum, but that was his first race after over a year layoff, and he still ran pretty well, lost by a neck. And I think this horse certainly is going to be probably sitting on a pretty big race. Could be, the class of the field. The last race, $145,000 stakes race. I'm quite sure Chad Brown put him in that race just as a prep for this race, if you ask me. I don't think he could have won it. There's only 5 horses in the field. I think he put him in there to sharpen him up for this race. So I think this horse has a pretty good chance here, the number 8 Program Trading.
Yeah, I could see him second time off that long layoff, taking a step forward. Question mark, is the mile too short, too sharp for him? But I think it's a good race, Chad's been pointing towards to see where this horse stands. Is he a miler? Or if he comes and he can't really get that sharp mile distance and he runs good, they might try the turf, with him, mile and a half. Because he shows those mile and 3/16, mile and 1/8 races for the Breeders' Cup. So it's a stepping stone to see, where he goes. But definitely this horse, big player in this field. Number 9, Rhetorical, the New York bred. I know my buddy Gus is turning over in his seat if he's watching, because New York breds doesn't give him much credence. But Spirit of St. Louis went down there and won that Pegasus turf race, that joke of a turf race they run in Gulfstream. Yes, New York breds can win big spots. This horse really has done nothing wrong. I mean, his second lifetime start on the turf, he was so far back and he came flying like a locomotive and just missed. Reels off 3 in a row, all state bred company. Faced opens, but that was an optional claimer, not any kind of stake race. That was his first race back off a slight layoff. 4 for 5. He's done nothing wrong. This is the acid test to see where he stands. He'd be one that what Irad Ortiz, he'd be one I'd be using in this spot to see, like I did with Spirit of St. Louis when he won that turf. I took a shot with him and I thought he was okay. This is another one that fits close to that New York bred mold,
especially at 8-1. Okay, number 10, Brilliant Bertie, being ridden by Jose Ortiz, trained by Sherry Deveau. This horse is interesting to me. Brian Hernandez Jr., God bless, I hope he continues to do well. I saw an update about him on the RF website. They coming along pretty well, so that's a good sign. But obviously, whether the fact that Ortiz got on him, it was planned, or it certainly happened because of the unfortunate circumstances with jockey Brian Hernandez Jr. I think this horse is interesting. He hasn't quite put up the numbers yet that are going to make this horse, qualify or stay, look like he belongs with these other horses in the race. But I can tell you this, he's a good horse. 12 lifetime starts, 7 wins, 2 seconds. He's ran this distance, has the most wins at this distance. So talk about a horse that's familiar with the mile. When we broke down the 8 horse and said he has it, the mile might be too sharp for him. You put Jose Ortiz on the horse, I think he's going to figure out a way on how to get this horse in the mix early on, keep him there and have a chance to come hard. Last time he came very hard. He was 7 wide, was coming hard, just couldn't get there in time at a mile at Kentucky Downs. Again, Kentucky Downs, a little change. The 3 races before that were, at Churchill Downs. He's only raced at Keeneland one time and won, and that was back in the grade 2 race where he came from the clouds and closed into that race. Again, buyer speed figure 92, maybe not quite ranking up here with some of the bigger horses in this field, but I think this horse is another horse who has a good chance.
Absolutely one of the most honest horses. What a fun horse. He gives it his all every single time. I mean, never ran a bad race. And look at his post position. He came from, 11th, 10th, 12th, and he's just motoring. So maybe if they mix it up on the front end a little bit and the mile, he definitely can do it. You said he's got 4 wins, the most in the field at this, and he likes Keeneland. So another major player at 8-1 for sure.
He's the only horse who won at Keeneland before on the turf. The only horse in the whole field that won on the turf at Keeneland. Only one other horse raced on the turf at Keeneland. All the other horses, none of them have ever won. Only the 11 has raced at Keeneland before on the turf, and only the 10 is the only horse that won.
Yeah, you got the 2 and the 11. The only ones that ran there, they didn't do too good. And the 10 is one that ran and won at Keeneland. Nobody else has even ran at Keeneland, which, I mean, you got to definitely, upgrade that a little bit for the 10. And you're picking up, Jose Ortiz. So definitely a major player. Next one, Patrick B. and Cohn's entry, Beach Gold here. Little Keith Asmussen riding. Looks like he's, a little bit outclassed here. It took him forever to break his maiden. And then when he figured it out, he did run some good ones in a row. Ran around to Epic Ride last time at Kentucky Downs and just sat the pocket. Perfect trip. And Epic Ride was able to just keep going on and on. So, and he was like stopping a little bit there. So in this field from the 11 hole, I find this almost, impossible task here.
Couldn't agree with you more there, John, on the 11 horse. And I don't think we're alone with that feeling. But let's go to the 12 horse Jonquil, also a European horse being ridden by Dylan Davis, first time in North America here. Certainly a wild card, so to speak, from the outside post, a little bit of a tough draw to make some noise. The trainer, Andrew Balding, certainly runs a lot of horses in Europe. This horse has only run right-handed or straight. Again, that's not a big deal, I guess, in some regard. He's only been here in Keeneland, looks like, for a little while. So, he last raced in Great Britain on August 24th. So, just had to take some time to get over. Hasn't been here very long. I don't know this horse has a big chance. I love Dylan Davis. I think he's one of the best jockeys on turf and certainly a good jockey to have a chance to close. The horse did win his last race out on a good turf course that was a little bit soft. Looks like he very rarely runs on a firm, which many horses in Europe won't. But I don't think that horse has much of a chance, in my opinion, from that post and from the experience that he has. But if I had a drum roll, John, I think I would do a drum roll right now and say, John, take your deep dive and tell me who you're diving in with here, John. I'm very interested to see who your pick is.
Before my big unveiling, number 12, the one he just talked about, the only reason I would think about putting him in somewhere is his races at a mile. His 2-mile races were by far his best races, and his, time form, his European ratings, 112 and 111 at the mile. So, but working out a trip from the 12 hole is going to be tough for that, European. But just because of those 2-mile races were his best, I would, consider.
Okay, good point. Yeah. And he could be a player to use in your trifectas or your exactas, keep him in there somewhere. So that's a good point. A 15-1 shot, that'd be very much worth the opportunity to use that horse in just what we talked about earlier in our betting strategy. So again, this is a race where if there's ever a race where you can use the a button in a superfecta or a trifecta, this might be a good one to do it, John.
I think it's the perfect example. We had a great, betting strategy, and then we find a race that actually fits that strategy where, especially if you're not like really heavy on Diego Velasquez, or if you are, you could single him in a bunch of spots, take him in like superfectas. If you're really high on Diego Velasquez, he'll be 8-5, and you think he's that good coming from Europe and he's just better than ours. You play the 4 with maybe 3 of your key horses, and then your 3 key horses again, and then the all button. So now you just need Diego Velasquez and your 3 horses to, run good. And then maybe it'll cut down the budget instead of, 3 by, 4 by 3 by all. Now you got a key horse somewhere has got to be in the top 4. I'm not going to, lean on him that much. I know I don't blame anybody that if they did. I'm going to plant my flag, I think, on the Chad Brown and Flavian Pratt program trading. I'm hoping the mile's not too sharp for him. I think that race back off a long layoff was pretty good. I think Chad was pointing for this spot when he ran in that race, knowing that, might have needed it in a little 5-horse race. The pace was nowhere near set up for him. He's got enough tactical speed where he could, work out a trip where he's not going to be the dead closer from way back. So I would probably lean on him as my top pick, but others I would, definitely use prominently. Like we talked about the New York bred, the 9, Brilliant Birdie, the 10, who hasn't run bad. I'm going to throw in the 12, John Quill, as another one of my keys. Sure. Defensively, use Diego Velasquez. And then anybody else would not surprise me running second or third. So I'll play the race more like, 8 on top. I'll use the 9, 10, 12, and 4 as my other ones. And then the all button, somewhere mixed and matched. So I'll take a shot with program trading at that odds with Chad Brown. Hopefully get around 4-1 on him.
Okay. Well, I'm going to plant my flag, John, or dive in, if I would say so. Dive into.
What is it? I'm dying to know.
Howard Wolowitz.
Howard Wolowitz.
That Howard Miller's coming in for an only mount. This horse is out of Monies in Spadestown. I don't think the mile is going to be a big deal for this horse. Certainly in the last 2 races, not the race that he raced in Saudi Arabia. Forget that race. It just didn't work out for him. Probably didn't like traveling all the way out there. Howard Miller was on him there, but that's good. But the race before that and the race after that with Irad on him, forgetting the race in Saudi Arabia, he kept coming. And if you watch I watched the replays, he kept going past the wire, the old gallop out. I know some people like to talk about that. I know some people don't, but I don't think the mile is going to be a problem for him. He knows how to pass horses at 6 furlongs. I think he's going to definitely have an opportunity to pass horses a little bit longer. He's been working lights out at Churchill Downs. He's been there for a while. His last race was August 30th. He's been working out there. Last 2 workouts he had are just super. And I think with Howard Miller having an only mount, I think I love that only mount action. So I think he's good. And I also did have another flag, a smaller flag though, John, not a big flag, just a small flag, also planted next to program trading. I love that horse as well. I think, again, second time off the layoff, I think Chad Brown was just used that last race as a little prep race for him. He could have won. He lost by a neck, had a little traffic in the upper stretch. That horse is definitely another horse to use. And again, the number 9 Rhetorical. But my top pick is for me is the number 3. He's also the number 1 Prime Power at Brisnet, which I lean on heavily. I think that comes out more often than not. And I think if you're looking to toss up a horse about you're not sure which horse you like better, I think leaning on the number 1 Prime Power is not a bad idea. So there we go, John. What final thoughts do you have on the situation at hand?
It's going to be a great day of racing tomorrow. You got, Breeders' Cup prep races all over the country, Keeneland, Santa Anita, and Belmont, which Fred's going to dive into Belmont strong tomorrow. I'll dive into the rest of this late pick 5, all stakes pick 5 at Keeneland. We covered one of the races in depth. We'll do the other 4 races tomorrow. And you got 5 great races at Belmont. So we're looking for this weekend who's going to come out of here and stamp themselves as a major Breeders' Cup contender. Can't wait, just as a fan to, see what's going on, with the next month ahead. And then hopefully, like we said, we'll do a nice long podcast with the Breeders' Cup Friday and the Breeders' Cup Saturday, the week of the Breeders' Cup. We'll have some special guests come on and join us, give us their opinions on some races. Just be a fun time and, looking to expand and make this, podcast better. Anybody like it, comment, whoever's watching, like any comments that you would like to see. We're definitely up for any improvement that, our listeners would like to hear and see.
Absolutely, John. And on that note, in terms of improvements, we're going to have a landing spot now on Florida Sports Talk. If you check that out for the articles that are written about the races that we cover. And also there's going to be a landing spot at Sports Talk Florida for our videos. So if you don't catch it live, you'll be able to go back there and watch it, including the betting strategies that we do, some of the other formats that we're going to continue to develop. And, we want to be sure that you be sure to check that out. If you don't catch us live, you'll be able to catch that out. And I want to say a little thank you to Sean Miller Sean Miller has put a lot of effort into having our podcast grow and having Capital Sports Network grow. Himself and Jim Williams, two individuals who I got to know about a year ago and have continued to allow us to grow and continue to do, John, what we're passionate about. I know you love to talk about horse racing. I have found a good person to talk to about horse racing here in John Costin, who's not traveling today. I believe he's home. The traveling handicapper finally landed at home, John.
Home today. I got to work happy hour. I'm going to pour some beers at the boathouse, Mercer County Park. We got El Cabong, the band out there by the water. So after that, maybe stop over to Highbows later tonight and visit Fred and his shenanigans over there. And then
there will be shenanigans, John. There will be shenanigans. It's an Irish fest.
Yeah,
John, Irish fest, shenanigans.
They're the same thing. There's an equal sign between them. So then actually Sunday I do leave for Costa Rica for a week.
All right. Yeah. John, I was worried. I was like, John,
I know.
You can't be home for 2 days in a row. You're going to start shaking.
Yeah, so that'll be Sunday. We'll see how it goes from there on Friday happy hour. I doubt if I'm going to have time to really dive into the past performances for Saturday, but maybe jump on for happy hour just to keep my streak alive as a traveling handicapper and offer some stuff, but maybe no selections for next week.
Okay. Well, either way, it's always a pleasure to have you on because I'm sure whatever we talk about, you'll have some knowledge and information to offer. So let's talk about, tomorrow at 10:30 on Capital Sports Network, YouTube X, when we will be talking about, as John mentioned, the Pick 5 at Belmont, the late Pick 5 at Belmont, and the late Pick 5 at Keeneland, which includes that race, which is a future race for the Kentucky Derby. 10 points, I believe, are available for that. So check us out. Hit the like and subscribe bell. John, once again, brother, have a good night. Good luck over there at the for where you're pouring some beers there and at the boathouse there, Mercer County Boathouse. And I hope I see you tonight. If not tonight, maybe tomorrow. But we'll definitely talk tomorrow at 10:30, John. So have a great time. Thanks again for your help. And don't forget, as always, let them run. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for checking out. Nice shirt, John. I love it.
All right. Thanks, Fred. All right. See you.